Hello everybody. Well, I know it's late in the boating season, but I just had to try this add-on for my boat. You may remember a few years ago I made a product review on the smart tabs that I put on my old Sea Ray Seville. If you saw that video, you saw that they really worked well, and no longer does my boat try to jump out of the water like a whale with them on when I punch it. It really gets up on the plane faster, and I really like them, and they do work. But they never solved my cavitation problem. So I began investigating and found this SE-300 Anti Cavitation plate with great reviews, so I purchased it. It was not that hard to put on, but I do have some tips you may consider if you're going to put something like this on your boat. Well, cavitation happens because the prop is pulling so hard the oxygen is actually pulled out of the water or there's air pulled from the surface down into the prop, which is the most common. This SE-300 claims to stop that by aiming the water and preventing the air from the surface from reaching the prop and getting sucked in. Well, some people call these whale tails, and on my old Brinker boat that was destroyed in that fire, it had a whale tail and it actually looked like one. It was on that boat when I bought it and I never knew the difference. It was a 70 horsepower Johnson outboard. My Sea Ray is a 130 horsepower GM MerCruiser inboard engine. So you're seeing how I installed and tested it, and what do you think happens to a DJI Spark Drone when it gets low on battery and decides to go home where it took off on the lake? That was exciting. Well, I had to remove the prop, as you can see, because there's no way that I could actually get to drill up in there and drill the holes with the prop on, so that was pretty easy to do. Well, it came with a really cool template, and after marking the holes with a center punch, I went ahead and drilled them. After that, you have to put the rubber washers. There's two sizes. The thin one goes on the front and the thick one goes on the back. They go in between the plate and the drive. Also, there is no way that you can put the bolts on the front end with any kind of a socket because it drops down in. If you turned it around, the nut's impossible to get a socket on. So I went ahead and made with my vice grips and a number 3 bit Phillips bit a tool to get that down in there. You don't want to over tighten it anyway, so this worked perfect. So it's mounted, and let's see what happens.
Anytime. Open it up.
As you can see, the bow is low and it got right up on the step.
No cavitation.
The manufacturer calls this a hydrofoil, and it works just like a hydrofoil. Any adjustment of the outdrive, it just absolutely is great. You just have to try it.
Perfect. No cavitation.
So the wind was 14 miles per hour today, and I found the Spark working really hard to even try to keep up with the boat in forward flight. It's not real fast, and I wound up using a lot of battery. Well, then all of a sudden I got a warning from my phone that the drone had entered safe return to the place where it took off. Yikes, where is that? I yelled. Well, then the drone took off up high like it does when returning to home, and I thought, well, this is the end of it. I tried to cancel return to home, but it just wouldn't. Tried to control it, and although this looked smooth because the camera is gyro stabilized, it was all over the place in this wind. Well, then it just touched the water lightly and just hovered there about a foot off of the water. When Ilea got close to it again, I was able to fly it back into the boat. Catch it by hand. Oh, wow. So, folks, I hope you enjoyed watching this video and know that I think this Ford 300 looks pretty good and it works really well. I got it on Amazon. A special thanks to Ilea for her boat driving skills as I was yelling out commands as she was following them perfectly. So happy boating and God bless. This is Dave the Night Flyer, signing off for now.